All right, here we go again. I got my provisions. Okay, I want to talk to you about a video I watched the other day. Now, okay, I'm a Gen Xer, right? So I grew up different. Is that my brother? I think it's my brother. I'll wave anyway. Somebody with a grater in the grater. And us Gen Xers, I think we grew up probably better than anybody else in hindsight, because we were always sociable. We were pretty much feral kids from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night outside. Parents were always, it was never get your ass outside. It was, okay, you have to come in now. Oh, 5 more minutes, Mom. No, it's bedtime, come back in. And we were outside all the time, right? Kids now, you can't get, you ask them to go outside, they'll take a nervous breakdown, right? But they don't realize how therapeutic it is. The kids that play outside have the most fun. And that's any generation. That's any generation. Like my nephew right now is out there with my dad fishing, right? That's better than any video game. Why? Because he loves doing stuff with us. When I get home from work and I'm all tired or whatever, I'll take a shower and then I'll try to spend as much time with him as I can. You know when you're really worn out. But even if we don't do anything, like last week it was slingshots. I just sat there with our slingshots, my nephew and I, just firing, rocks and everything at like a worm can. You know what I mean? Like absolutely nothing spectacular, but memories he will have for the rest of his life, and it's the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? Like you remember it with such nostalgia, right? So why is this important? Well, it's very important, hugely important, because the younger generation now, a lot of them kind of don't have that, because they don't know how to go about it, right? So you get a lot of these, okay, hang on, all this new this new crushed gravel here is still pretty sketch. It's not a week old yet. Well, it's about a week old. So it's like you get on there and you get like a real loose spot, so you gotta be careful when you're going off the road. But anyway, as I say, so the younger generation, they basically have no friends. And that's the worst thing ever. And it's not because they're bad kids or anything like that. It's the way everything is. Like you go to school, you're on a computer all day. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So for a lot of kids, okay, they're gonna grow up very disassociated, disconnected. And you could take the most socially awkward kid, okay, in my generation, and you would throw him in the pit with the rest of us. He had no choice but to assimilate to the group, right? And the groups were big, and there were norms that would, things that kids would do that, you'd break out of your shell after about 5 minutes. Even the most clammed up kid kind of thing would probably break out of his inner shell in 5 minutes. And he'd have time of his life. And I'm in too high of a gear. But I didn't get off the bike here. Those kids, they take that not only as fond memories for the rest of their lives, but it also builds the building blocks of socialization skills. Now, I know if you say anything or do you have a PhD? Don't need a PhD to know whether someone's doing okay or not doing okay, you know what I mean? You can figure it out. I'm doing okay. I was in too high of a gear at the bottom of the hill. So I need recovery. Okay, so there's a chunk of wood that was just melted in the road, I guess, from all the trucks. So anyway, so brings us back to the kids get a little bit older. Right now, as a Gen Xer, as soon as you came of age, the first thing you did as a Gen X male was chase every girl you could, right? And the girls, back in the day, still wanted kids, families, and relationships for the most part. We won't get into all that stuff, but things were a lot more normal back then. But the reason why women are not, for the relationships like they used to be, is because they're just as disassociated as modern men, right? And again, if they didn't go through that teenage phase where they went through dating and a few breakups, just to learn what the routine was about, so to speak, they don't know how to socialize, as an adult, which means somebody should have put oil on that chain after all that rain yesterday. I think, well, rain's a lubricant, right? Rust is a bonding agent, rain is a lubricant on this bike. But anyway, so if you can't socialize properly from a kid, you will never socialize properly as a teenager. And if you can't socialize properly as a teenager, you're probably going to be alone the rest of your life, because that's the years where you build the most friendships, the most relationships. That's when, when you're younger and then you go into becoming a young man, that's when you're going to be the best looking you're going to be and the most likely to get a girlfriend and stuff like that. But I watched a video. I know there was a big load up to this video, but I thought it was such a great video. Now, you watch my video. I've got my GoPro Hero 7 on my chest rig, and when you hear the mumbly one, that's my GoPro Hero 5. But you guys tune in, most of you tune in because you're a bunch of freaking trolls, but anyway, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love y'all. But the thing is that you guys tune in to this channel and you never know what you're going to get. You might get me doing some music stuff, you might be getting me doing some bike stuff, dealing with some sort of dilapidated vehicle stuff, dilapidated whatever, like, it's just a guy doing his thing on a regular basis with the regular struggles of life. That's what you get on this channel, right? Not much more than that. It's pretty lowbrow, right? But it's comforting. Why? Because right now you're probably watching this and maybe you're past your prime a bit, but you're like, this kind of takes me back to when I used to cycle when I was a kid. And it gives you fond memories. That's why you come back, right? It's kind of same way, my nephew's going to look at fishing with Grandpa today, fond memories, same way I did, right? With my grandpa, all that stuff. You carry that with you. But when you have less and less of that good stuff to carry with you, it does confuse you when you get older. So I saw pretty much the same kind of GoPro angle, POV, point of view of some bike, but I could tell it was a bike with like no gears on it. So I was like, okay, let's see what. And the title of the video was a young lad titled it, "How This Old Rusty Bike Fixed My Depression." Now, I'm a very fortunate person. I don't suffer from that. I fully understand it because I know people who do. And I have people that are close to me that suffer with it. And every now and then, I have to deal with that issue, right? And every time I deal with that, I always thank God that I don't have to deal with that issue personally, right? Now, and I'm not going to be one of those pull yourself up by the bootstraps type of people, because that's not how it works. Anybody that says that, they're just completely disconnected. They need to experience life a little bit more on both sides of the spectrum, the highs and the lows, you know what I mean? And what I have found is that with the younger generation, their biggest crutch is isolation. Their second biggest crutch is all the stuff that comes along with isolation. Smoking marijuana like crazy, Yes, they've legalized it here in Canada, and I don't have any studies or charts for you, but watch what happened to homelessness and depression right after they legalized it. It just goes up. Now, there's a lot of factors on there. I'm not just blaming that stuff. But that stuff, every single time I see somebody, gotta cut this grass later today. I gotta do the far one first and do this one on the way back, if there's any gas. There wasn't gas last week. But every time I see somebody that, my life is a wreck, I'm depressed, I'm giving up weed for 2 weeks. 6 months later, that person turns their life around, like, and then that's what got my whole stay away from that stuff. It is a downer. That can't be disputed. You know, does it have medicinal purposes? I believe it does. But then that would tell me it's a drug. You know what I mean? And like any drug, you got to be careful with it. Kind of like when you go up a hill in too high of a gear. You got to be careful with it. Kind of like when you don't put enough WD-40 on the chain after it gets rained on. Remember, rain is a lubricant, rust is a bonding agent. It'll hold the bike together better. I'm sure of it. Take my advice here. But anyway, so this kid, he just has all those, well, kid, young man, probably 20 years old, somewhere, a Gen Zer, right? And all the hallmarks: no friends, high anxiety for just sits there and plays video games all day, no job. And you know, like, people